So something that I've been aware of for a while, I first saw Joanna Feely speak about 5, 6 years ago. So she is the founder of a company called Trend Bible. If you Google them, they're excellent. So just search for Trend Bible, all one word. And what they do specifically around the home, family, and kind of children is forecast trends for bigger companies so that people know what's coming down the pipeline, excuse me, so that they can build their product or service so that when a trend hits, you're already in the right place at the right time to make the most of it and hopefully make a ton of money. I've seen her stuff for a while, and actually what was interesting, so I went to the marketing meetup here in Newcastle on Tuesday. Definitely check it out. I'll put a link in the description. Really good events, really good speakers, talk about really cool stuff. And what was really interesting, so she was going through and actually giving her through a story about different things. And I'm going to talk you through some of the topics and what they kind of do. But she also said some stuff that really kind of resonated with me as well. So although the talk was aimed at marketers and it's called the Marketing Meetup, sat there as like a CEO, kind of, leader of a business. What she talks about is actually fundamental to business planning and decision making, because actually these trends and forecasts, the whole point of a CEO is to create content. It's to create and guide the direction of a business in the right way and then allocate resource to it. So what you're looking to do as an entrepreneur is identify trends, identify opportunities, and then actually look to capitalize on them. That's the whole job. And what I kind of realized from her talk was actually the real value is far beyond marketing. It should be a genuine kind of C-suite kind of thing. And what I wanted to do is just share the concepts of what she kind of talked about in the talk, but definitely check out Trend Bible on all the platforms. So if you imagine a pyramid, what you're essentially always looking for is the early signs of things that could be happening in an industry that might be beneficial to you. So these are called weak signals. So these are really early signs of things to keep an eye out for, which could benefit you or could impact you. The example she gave in the talk was through veganism and how in 2014 you started to see more people start to post and almost be open to meat-free products. And over time, that was the example she went through, all the point where now, hi Paul, good morning, to the point where now actually it's really common that veganism is a real thing and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. But in 2014, it wasn't always true. For me, one of the things that I've been watching, which is part of the reason why I'm filming this in 360 as we speak, is to do with AR and VR. So people have been aware for virtual reality for years. At home, I have an original 1989 Game Boy, and I swear even, oh God, 25, 30 years ago, I'm sure there was a Game Boy VR, and it was basically a normal screen that you just put close to your face. But people have known for a long time that eventually at some point, if you've ever seen the film Ready Player One, which is a Steven Spielberg film, and actually all the things that I'm talking about are all signals themselves. But the idea is at some point we might all live with headsets on. Think of the Matrix as well, when you're just immersed in a simulation. But the idea is you spot trends and things that happen that over time start to build evidence. And the point is you identify all these different signals that guide your thinking, to guide your business. So you go from weak signals to early signs. So in terms of businesses and what we're kind of starting to talk about. So for AR, VR, it's been around for years, but the technology wasn't really ready. You had Oculus start, and then Oculus were bought by Facebook, now Meta, I think about 5 years ago. And actually, I even have an Oculus Quest 2 down there. It's fine, it's great, it's not brilliant, it's not comfortable to wear for too long, but actually some of the stuff is pretty cool. But the point is, I'm kind of an early adopter of different stuff, and I've kind of been watching this for a while, and I wanted to look at a business point of view that could you feel be in Japan but feel like you're in the room, and I wanted to learn how to do that. Then the next is growing evidence. Oh, I've broke my pen, so I'm just going to swap pens. And then last but not least is saturate the market. Saturate. But the reason why I'm talking about this in terms of AR, VR is that actually, so the weak signals, it's been around for ages. The technology's been a bit naff. the games and content wasn't really whatever. Evidence of big changes. So Facebook, multi-billion-dollar company, changed their name to Meta, go all in on the metaverse, that everyone kind of knows of this thing called the metaverse. They might not buy into it, but they know of it. And what we're starting to do is go through this channel. And basically this summer, it is expected that Apple are going to launch their AR VR headset. When, we had smartphones, we had phones with screens, but it was when Apple made that jump, it became mainstream, that actually part of the reason why we're purposely upping our content now, especially our 360 AR VR content, is actually if Apple launch their AR VR headset this summer, that is kind of at the point where we know there's a bell curve for early adopters. It's at the point where when people do it, people pay attention when Apple do things, that actually we can see it really start to take off. So from a business point of view, and it'd be the same for whatever you do, what you're looking to do is identify these trends, learn how to do them really well, so that when the market really kicks off, you have an advantage over everyone else. So what we're looking to do with the content, so I'm going to film all of my live streams now with this and just get better and better and better and better, is that if you remember back to when the iPhone first launched, it wasn't with the iPhone 3G, I think it was actually the second iPhone, they launched the App Store. So when the iPhone originally launched, there wasn't an App Store, but at some point there was. And when people, launched the App Store, there was a rush where people would then just download apps just because they were there and they wanted to try this cool new thing. My point being that if Apple are going to launch a AR VR service, it's at the point where the market will begin that very early stage of saturation that could grow really quickly, that actually what we're trying to do is capitalize on that. The whole point and the power of trend forecasting is that when you spot these trends and things that are starting to happen, you can become a specialist and be an early adopter, so that as that market rises, you can make great use of it. In the use of kind of Paul Chan, who's a friend, if you do interior decoration or you lay floors or whichever, if you know that the in trend is going to be herringbone flooring in 2 years' time, you can actually learn your craft and learn how to do that and build your brand and your SEO and that kind of thing, so that when these trends kick off, you score higher on TikTok and YouTube and that kind of thing, so you can really score much higher. And the point is, you can use trends to actually help confirm the things that you kind of feel inherently already inside yourself, just to make the most of it from a business point of view. I would definitely recommend Trend Bible if they're not in your sector and if you're not in the kind of home space and that kind of thing. It's cool, I'm not as well, but it's still kind of real value there. And one of the things that Joanna said during her talk, which is trends in terms of how people view themselves, is that at the moment there's a fluidity of self. So almost where nowadays people don't like to be put into a box as gay, straight, male, female, business owner, mother, son, photographer, YouTube presenter, whichever. People are actually starting to fight against and rebel against labels, and that's like a growing thing, that the identity of self. So from Joanna's talk on Tuesday, it made me actually create 2 new social media posts, which I since put out about that. And the other one as well is there's a big growing trend about the idea of being a digital nomad. People love the idea to be able to work from anywhere, to work from a beach in Bali, especially if you do social media marketing from your laptop, you can work from everywhere. That's like a growing dream for a lot of people. I've seen it. I subscribe to something called Freelancer Magazine, and they've kind of touched on it. But the point is, I'd seen these little signals and stuff of other people talk about. Through her talk, what it did do is to really cement that actually there is a real thing there. It helps support my intuition that we're going to do an advertising campaign based on learn from anywhere. So learn from a beach, learn from a bus, learn from the moon. But the idea is it's to use that digital nomad trend that people like the idea of and actually use it as a way to stand out as a business in a way that my competition, who could be physical training centres or universities that have an inherent based in a city or whichever, they can't do that. But the point is, it's the trend that is happening, that is around. Having an awareness of them, it can help guide your intuition, which then can help your marketing and promotion. Or in terms of a trend for lifestyle, if you have the ability to learn from anywhere, I can then hop on that trend and benefit in a way that if I only taught people in person from a classroom, I can't. So I'm sorry that was a really long-winded way to describe it, but definitely check out trend forecasting as a concept. It can just be kind of simplified down to a way to kind of, think about your ideas and actually think, are they useful, they're the right thing to do in the direction for your business. But it is still a super interesting thing to do and be aware of.